On a cold December evening, Yong-soo, wrapped in the warmth of his living room, decided to call his friends.
Don't you think we should get together?
Jong-sik was the first to pick up the phone and suggest that they meet.
So, you saw the news?
Did you get in touch with Jongwon?
Not yet.
Okay, then I'll do it.
Yong-soo hung up and carefully dialed Jong-gun's number. He couldn't reach him. He wasn't at home and his cell phone was turned off.
That idiot! Where could he have gone?
Is something wrong?
It's nothing. We're just making plan for a year-end get together.
You guys shouldn't drink so much, you know. If you're not careful, you'll drink yourself to death.
Suk-yung took the trash bag and walked toward the front door.
I'm going to take out the trash.
While she was out, Yong-soo tried calling Jong-gun again, but he couldn't get through.
I wonder, could we have done it?
Yong-soo thought and called Jong-sik again.
Jongsik? I haven't been able to reach Jongwon.
The silence towered over the two men, glowering down at them like a totem pole. They were probably thinking the same thing. Surely, it couldn't be.
No! Would he do something like that?
No, of course not. It takes a truly twisted person to do something like that.
Okay, then how about just the two of us meet?
Sure, why not? Where should we meet?
At the cafe.
Okay, that sounds good. What time?
4 o'clock?
That's a bit early, isn't it?
Okay, 5 o'clock. We can just talk for a little while and then have a dinner.
Alright, see you then.
Yong-soo's wife came back in from taking out the trash. She held in her hand a red envelope.
This came for you.
What is it?
Well, it looks like a Christmas card. Are you expecting a Christmas card from someone? Well, now I've seen everything. Aren't you going to open it?
Yong-soo stole a glance at the card. In the upper left-hand corner, in small letters, was written Jin-suk.
Who is it from?
I'm not sure.
Merry Christmas, Yongsoo. It's me, Jinsu. It's been a while since I've sent you a card like this, hasn't it? Do you remember that Christmas 10 years ago?
Yong-soo's wife could finally stand it no longer and came back out into the living room.
What on earth is that card? Jin-suk? That Jin-suk? Why is she sending you a card now? You two must be seeing each other. Did you see her? When? You wanted me to see this card, didn't you? What? Are you two playing house now? And what is this stupid music? Do you want me out of this house? Is that it?
Yong-soo didn't say a word, silently waiting until her barrage of questions was finished. When she quieted down, Yong-soo spoke.
That's enough.
What's enough? I haven't even started yet.
I heard you. That's enough.
Why?
Jin-suk. She's dead.
Dead? When did she die? And how does a dead person send a card?
She died few days ago.
Yong-soo said, and he showed her the newspaper that had been under the living room tea table.
It wasn't you, was it?
Are you crazy? Suk Jung Lee, look at me. I said look at me.
If it wasn't you, then fine.
His wife got up and went back to the kitchen. Yong-soo stared at his wife as she stood in front of the sink, as if he was looking through the wrong end of a telescope. It was a war without gunfire, a truce without parley. The two did not say a word and buried themselves in their own worlds. She peeled the green onions and washed the fish. When it came time to do the bean sprouts, she grabbed the newspaper from the tea table in front of her husband, spread it out on the kitchen floor, and dumped the bean sprouts out on top of it. The bean sprouts covered in Jin-suk's article, but some of the words and letters were still visible between the heads and stems. As each bean sprout was cleaned and put in a bowl, the words began to take shape again, and they told her that Jin-suk was dead. Someone had gone into the room where she was staying and killed her, ruthlessly stabbing her with a sharp knife. Seok-gyung cast a furtive glance at her husband sitting in the living room. He was nervously biting his fingernails and his toes tapped on the tea table. He was clearly fraught with anxiety.
Could he have killed her?
Not just anyone can commit murder, though. There was no way such an unremarkable person as her husband would take a knife, break into an inn room, and go through with the murder, changing his life forever. She knew her husband too well. He was the type of person who never booked tickets in advance. He wasn't the type to do anything decisive either. In fact, if it hadn't been for her, they would never have been able to buy the apartment they were living in now. Freedom. The word that first came to mind was freedom. She would be free. If he had really committed murder, and a brutal stabbing at that, he would get at least a life sentence. If that happened, then this apartment and all their possessions would naturally be hers by marriage. It would also be easy to get a divorce from a husband she could no longer live with, even more so since the fault for that would be his. Of course, she would have to pay a lawyer as a formality, but that was unavoidable. She would at least have to put up a front. And if he would just be so kind as to be killed in a traffic accident, well then, the life insurance money would be the icing on the cake. One mustn't be too greedy though.
Ouch! What on earth am I thinking?
Her thoughts then went to Jin-suk, lying there bleeding to death in the inn room. What had she felt like? Seeing all that blood gushing out of her body. She must have felt woozy, like the feeling you get from sleeping pills. That good-for-nothing tramp. She had been thrown out of the dormitory before even the first year was over. The offense was staying out overnight without permission. For a total of 3 times. There had been a rumor that she was sleeping around, and one of the guys mentioned in the rumor was Young-soo. Of course, he had denied it. That's just a meaningless rumor. I'm not that close to. She's just a girl I know. You think I'm the only guy she knows? Jin-suk had lived in the room across from Seok-gyung. There was that one time, just once, Seok-gyung pressed her lips together, finished cleaning the bean sprouts, and put them in the pot. There was a time when she had stolen a pair of Jin-suk's underwear. Many of the girls liked to steal Jin-suk's underwear because she had been with a lot of guys.
I was different. The reason why I stole her underwear was... Actually, my reasons were no different from anybody else. That's right, I hated her. In fact, I was in a bit of jealous. And there was more. Not why you stole it, but the way you stole it. The other girls would quietly steal them from the clothesline, but I deliberately stole it from the hamper in her room. What did I do with those panties? I don't know. Probably threw them away in a bathroom. Yes, that's what I did.
The thieving never ended in the dormitories. Every day, someone was stealing something from someone else. Of course, Seok-gyung had makeup, underwear, and watches stolen from her. One of those items might have even found its way into Jin-suk's hand. Seok-gyung thought. The filthy girl, the tramp, the slut who slept with anyone and everyone. That's why she had so many pairs of pretty underwear. Someone had once asked her where she had bought them, and Jin-suk answered in her peculiar, stammering way.
They were presents.
The very fact that panties were given as presents, that panties could be given as presents, came as a shock, and all the girls in the dormitory gaped in surprise.
What kind of presents?
Well, this was birthday presents. And this was a Christmas presents. The panties she had received for Christmas actually had a picture of Santa Claus on them.
What is she? An idiot?
Her? Of course, she's an idiot. Do you know what her nickname is? The vending machine.
Who said that?
A guy I know. She got quite a reputation among her classmates too.
And she doesn't know this?
Probably not.
Of course, as time went on, there were those who told her what people were saying about her. Jin-suk was depressed for a few days, but then went back to her old self. It might have been understandable if she was pretty, but she wasn't even that. How such a chubby and ordinary girl with the looks of a simple country bumpkin could attract so many guys was always a mystery to Seok-young. She turned her head to look at the newspaper that was spread out on the kitchen floor. While she was thinking these things, her husband was getting ready to go out.
Where are you going?
I won't be long.
I asked, where are you going?
Don't you remember the phone call I got from Jong-sik a while ago? I'm going to meet him for dinner.
Didn't you see me preparing dinner all this time? Why do you have to see Jong-sik? Ah, since Jin-suk died, you figured you'd go to pay your respect. Is her old screwing club getting together to give her a funeral oration? Bastard!
Young-soo left the house with the word bastard at his heels and pushed his heavy body into the car parked in front of their apartment. His belly bulged out and hung over the seatbelt. I am so out of shape, he thought. The car struggled out of the apartment complex and crawled into the street. At every traffic light, he tried calling Junggyun, but he still couldn't get through. When he arrived at the appointed place, he found Jong-sik already there. His face looked as dark as the sky just before a storm.
Say, are you sure we should be meeting like this?
Ah, coffee. Whatever. Oh wait, the house blend will do. What are you talking about?
What have we done wrong?
Is there any reason we be meeting?
It's not that, damn it. It could only look suspicious. Strictly speaking, there isn't any reason we should be meeting either, is there? Hey, you don't think those guys are undercover cops, do you?
I don't think so. Undercover cops don't wear suits.
Some of them do.
Young-soo's coffee arrived, and he took a sip of the lukewarm drink.
It wasn't you, was it?
There's one thing I know for sure, and that is I didn't kill Jin-suk.
Then who did? It could have been that bastard Jung-won. He's separated now, isn't he?
What does being separated have to do with the committing murder? I heard his business went under last year.
What business was that?
It was fried chicken franchise. He did that and sold coffee and kebabs during the day, or something like that. I'm not really sure. When that went under, he and his wife separated.
Didn't he live with Jin-suk for a little while way back when?
Live with her? He probably just slept with her a few times. Jin-suk used to visit his place from time to time. Remember? Say, didn't you and Jung-won share a place?
Did we? For a little while. Maybe a few months. Yeah.
Jin-suk was pretty loose. More thick-headed than loose actually.
But they said she was stuck with a knife.
I wonder who did it. And did he really have to do it that way?
I mean, he could have been strangled her, and that would have been the end of it.
Yeah, tell me about it. Say, did you quit smoking?
Yeah, not too long.
You're one willful bastard. They say you should never mess with a guy who quit smoking or a guy with a perfect poker face. You should quit too, man. I'm glad I quit.
You really think I'll be able to quit in a situation like this?
Situation? What situation?
By the way, you haven't heard anything from the police, have you?
Not yet. You?
No. Don't you think the police will know that we meant like this, don't you?
Of course not. How would they know?
I never should go out that night. I just figured that I'd go with you and Jung-won. And look at me now.
The two men looked regretful and were silent for a while.
It was that night, wasn't it?
Apparently so.
So, Jin-suk met us for a drink and then went back to her room at the inn, right? She met somebody there. It could have been someone who went to see her, or she might have called someone. Who could that been?
I don't know. She knew plenty of guys.
You went straight home that night, right?
Are you doubting me?
No, I just wanted to make sure you got home alright that night.
What's that?
Well, the police are probably going to check out her wallet, right? Then they'll find her schedule and even phone numbers.
What's to worry about? If we haven't done anything wrong, we'll be fine.
It's not that. It's that I have to leave the country on a business trip the day after tomorrow. Let's say that the police find my name and come to investigate, but I'm on a business trip overseas. I'll become the prime suspect, won't I? I will, won't I?
Why are you getting angry at me? I'm not the one who pretending you from leaving this country. For all we know, they might not give an order yet. So relax. But your wife doesn't know yet. right? All because of that stupid Christmas card.
Wait, card? What card?
Jinsuk sent a card to my house. My wife saw it and she flew into a rage. I can understand why she's making such a fuss. It's not like that I slept with her.
You did sleep with her.
Me? When?
Back then.
That was back then.
True. But tell me more about this card. It wasn't in a red envelope, was it?
Yeah, it was a red envelope. What is she, a teenager? Sending a Christmas card like that?
It's just one thing after another, isn't it?
What are you talking about?
Way out, I saw a red envelope sitting all by itself in the mailbox. I thought it was just some advertisement and I left it there. Damn it. That must have been the card Jinsuk sent. That bitch. She's hounding me even in the depths. I'd better go.
Jongsik grabbed a few pieces of candy from the counter on his way out. As soon as he got into his car, he tossed one of the candies into his mouth. He rolled it around a few times with his tongue before crushing it with his molar. In 10 minutes, he was home. Fortunately, the Christmas card was still in the mailbox. Jongsik's wife didn't know about Jinsuk, but she would certainly not be happy about the card. As he took the card out of the mailbox, someone appeared at his side. Jongsik began to follow them to the car without a word when he stopped. He gently freed his arms from their grasp so as to not to give the impression that he was trying to run away. While one of the detectives put Jongsik in the car, the other detective strode over to the mailbox and took the card back out again.
What are you doing with my mail? Put that back. Am I going to have to report you? Do you have search warrant?
The detective paid no attention to Jongsik's protests, put the card in his inside coat pocket, and climbed into the passenger seat.
Let's go. It's a card from the victim.
Clearly enjoyed finding evidence of the victim.
Cuff him.
His colleague in the back seat handcuffed Jongsik. Jongsik realized that they now considered him a threat, one who might destroy evidence or try to escape. He softened his manner.
Please, don't do this. I haven't done anything wrong. Let me ask you something. Why on earth are you doing this?
Not one of the detectives in the car answered him. Just as the workers who carry the boxes of cola don't speak to the cola bottles, just as the middleman at a cattle market don't speak to the cows, detectives don't speak to suspects while they are being transferred. When they arrived at the police department, the detectives brought Jongsik to the violent crimes department. Then they began to interrogate him for real as he sat there. The dark room, a swinging incandescent lamp, a typewriter, these are all just scenes from a movie. They don't exist in a real police station. At a glance, the police station might have been mistaken for a tax office. People sat with obsequious expressions in front of board staff members, earnestly explaining their situations. Jongsik answered every question sincerely, or at least he tried to give that impression. But the strategy didn't seem to be too successful. The more he tried to give that impression, the more his words sounded like forced excuses. Like in some fable, felt as if the words that sprung from his mouth turned into snakes and frogs.
Jinsuk? She was just a girl I knew a long ago. That's all. You know how it's all the rage these days to meet with his old schoolmate? She had returned to Korea after being abroad for a long time, and it was an opportunity to meet old friends. So we just got together. Why on earth would I stab to death an old schoolmate I hadn't seen in such a long time? Think about it.
The detective stared at him blankly over the LCD screen of his notebook computer and then smiled.
That damn girl. I've got to kill her. You said that, right?
Well, Upster, you wouldn't happen to have any candy, would you? I stopped smoking not too long ago. You see? You smoke? Then you'll understand. The withdrawal is killing me. If I don't have at least a piece of candy, I'm going to insane. You have a piece of candy, baby.
The detective shook his head from side to side.
That damn girl. I've got to kill her.
Yes, but that was just something I said when I was angry. If I had known she was going to die like this, I probably wouldn't have said like that.
That night, you had a drink with Yung Sung Jung, Junggun Park, and the victim, Jun Suk Jo. And afterwards, you went to the inn room where Miss Jo was staying, correct?
I'm even starting to smoke again because of that damn girl. Yes, I went to her room. Haven't you ever done anything like that, officer? If you haven't, well, I guess there's no explaining it. Jin-suk and I used to be like that. We were in the same club at school. So after having a drink, we'd just sleep out, meet at inn, and, well, you know what, don't you?
But that night, Mr. Park was already there, wasn't he?
How do you know that? Jungkwon isn't here by any chance, is he?
You don't need to know that. Just answer the question, please.
You don't know what it's like between us. I doubt you'll understand even if I tell you. Jin-suk was, well, she was sort of public property between the three of us way back when. We didn't know this at first. Of course, we found out later when we were having a drink together. Young-soo probably said something about it first. Anyway, we all found out the three of us had been sleeping with Jin-suk at around the same time. In that sort of situation, men act in one of two ways. The first way would be to back off, declare a sort of joint security area, so to speak. If Jin-suk had been a little bit intelligent or pretty, that's what we would have done. But the problem was that Jin-suk was a bit stupid. She was so stupid that the first time I did it with her, she thought it was my finger inside me. She didn't even know. I don't know how such a girl made it to university. Oh, and the second way would be to pretend that girl didn't exist, that she still doesn't exist. That is, no one talks about her, but her relationships continue. We could never all meet at the same time. Of course, in a word, she was a ghost, and it's quite a problem if everyone can see a ghost. Yes, you're beginning to understand now, aren't you? Because she didn't exist, there was no problem with her being public property.
The detective hadn't recorded a single word of Jong-sik's carrying on that end. That sort of testimony was not fit to be included in the report, because only clear facts could be recorded in a report. Nonetheless, the detective listened patiently. He had already written down everything required for the report and was waiting for the results of the on-site criminal investigation by the National Institute of Scientific Investigation. Naturally, he would have to change his report based on the results of that investigation. Finally, he received a call telling him that the results of the primary criminal investigation were in. The detective spoke so that the suspect in front of him couldn't follow the conversation. The detective hung up the phone and pulled his notebook computer closer.
You didn't kill her?
He asked Jong-sik.
Why would I kill her?
Then why did you say you had to kill her?
That was a joke.
Do you often make those kind of jokes? You left the inn room with Mr. Park for another drink, right? And that's when you said that. And then Mr. Park said that his life had turned out this way because of that damn girl. And now, he had actually gone to kill her? He said something like that, no?
Yes, I think.
Why would Mr. Park think that his life was wrecked because of the victim?
The thing about Jungwon, well, he had the problem. You see, this is pretty funny, but he seemed to really like Jin-suk. The reason that the three of us stopped speaking to each other 10 years ago was Jungwon. After we graduated, Young-soo passed the CPA exam and went to work for a accounting firm. And I found a job as well. And we were all busy with our own lives. After a while, we decided to get together to celebrate us all finding jobs. Well, that night, Jungwon, he wasn't even all that drunk, but suddenly, out of nowhere, he grabs a knife and goes into a rage. And I thought I was going to die. Said he was going to kill us all, that he won't let us touch Jin-suk one more time. Huh? Why would you want to touch her? You only slept with her because she never said she didn't want to. Would you have done the same? He had acted just as we had. And now he says that he was in love and we were just having fun.
Have you ever seen such obstinacy?
Actually, I kind of feel sorry for Jungwon too. The only girl he had ever slept with up until his graduation was Jin-suk. But still, to come at his friends with a knife and says he was going to kill us, Jungwon, he had a bit of drastic side. I'm not saying that he killed Jin-suk, of course. He must have been a bit gloomy seeing that his business went under and he got a divorce and all.
Okay, you're free to go. Don't go far for the time being. You're still not completely cleared of suspicion.
I know you're comparing me with her every time we sleep together. You're not by any chance thinking that there is no difference between her and me.
At times like that, Young-soo took great pains to appease her, but it was that much harder to explain himself when he was thinking.
I've changed? Well, I've always been impatient. When I was in Germany, I often heard about how quickly Korea was changing. First, the Soviet Union collapsed, then the bubble economy grew, and then the economic crisis hit. I was worried about how much you guys and Korean society had changed, and whether or not I would be able to adjust. But now that I'm here, I see that I have changed the most. You guys were the same as ever. You're not upset, are you?
Okay, that's enough. We were wrong.
Go ahead. Kill me. Kill me. One more isn't going to make a difference, is it?
What's wrong with you? I didn't even lay a finger on Jinsuk. And here we are acting like this. This is not a single reason for me to feel guilty. That bitch.
You think she could be a little more understanding when her husband is faced with a crisis like this? Intelligent criminals are different, she says. It's almost as if she wished I had actually committed the murder. Really? Maybe I should just leave the country, gather up all our belongings and immigrate to Canada, the land of dreams, just like that. We'd see how proud that bitch would then.
It's Jongsik. Turn on the television. What happened?
They said on the news that Jungwon killed her.
Jongwon? Why?
Not just him either. What about Jinsuk returning home after all that time? He finished her too. So, are you okay? Well, you said your wife knows all about it.
I'm fine. Don't worry about me. But here's the strange thing. Why don't you feel relieved? Damn it, I don't have a single drop of blood on my hands.
Neither do I. Damn it. Life's just like that. Anyway, I haven't been able to sleep for the past few days. I feel like I'm dead on my feet. Now I think I'll stretch out and go to sleep. Okay, keep in touch.
Look, it's Christmas, right? Do you want to go and get a tree at Namdong Market?
Jinsuk. They said that Jungwon killed her. It was just on the news. That bastard should have called us or something. We were worried for nothing. Some wonderful friends you are.
Do you want to buy a tree or not?
Forget it.
I didn't kill her. I told you to put that down.
This was followed by the sound of his wife tearing the card to bits. But the monotonous electric carol from the built-in Chinese music chip droned on. Before he knew it, Yongsoo began to hum along with the melody. Santa Claus knows. He knows who's been bad and who's been good. He's coming tonight. Suk-young rummaged through the trash to find the tenacious music chip that she had thrown out, opened the veranda window, and tossed the chip out. Santa Claus is coming to town, the Christmas carol that would continue to play obstinately until the battery was fully exhausted. Of course, it was only a monotonous melody, never to be heard again by Suk-young and Yongsoo.